Now, James Maddison got his moment, didn't he, at the weekend to silence Roy Keane. He scored from close range. It was the winner for Spurs against Man United. The ex-United skipper had said in a podcast that Maddison got relegated with Leicester and he'll get relegated with Spurs, before going on to say, when is he going to step up to the plate? I think he said he's okay when he's not at the darts. Gabby Agbonlahor was coached by Keane at Aston Villa and yesterday said he is bang out of order.
I totally agree. I just felt that Roy Keane's comments were unprovoked. Maddison's had a decent season. Can he do better? Yes, he can. Unprovoked comments. I worked with Roy Keane at Aston Villa. I know his character, what he's like, and just didn't like it. No need. You know, James Maddison seems like a good lad. So what if he goes to darts? He brought up a little dig about the darts, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, he did.
So good on James Maddison. You know, and give these pundits something back. Just summed Roy Keane up, really. That's what he's like.
Right, in terms of his character, his personality.
Yeah, I just feel like where the comments were made, it just seemed like it was pre-planned. Let's say something. We don't know it's going to go up on social media. It's going to blow up. Just no need for it, unprovoked, on James Maddison. I'm glad he gives some back.
Gabby Agbonlahor fears no one. Not even Roy Keane. What do you think about all that, Troy? I mean, it's a bit of a storm in a teacup, isn't it? I'm not sure that James Maddison would take too much notice of any criticism anyway, but...
No, I think all players hear it. Obviously, it's a hugely successful podcast, isn't it? So all players would hear it and see it. I think also Roy's just saying what Roy thinks. I don't think we should ever get offended by somebody's opinion, unless obviously they're making it really personal about you as an individual. They don't like you, excuse me, or what you stand for, things like that. He's saying, you know, he feels it's very difficult for people to listen to Roy Keane to understand that Roy Keane is a serial winner. He's probably one of the best midfielders the Premier League's ever seen. And for him to comment on people, it's always going to be from a level of his standards. So it's always going to be very difficult to even measure up to that. But I think, you know, James could do better. He's had... Spurs could do better. He's had an in and out season, so have Spurs. And sometimes you have to take criticism, but the best way to do it is score a goal and then, you know, say things back. But you have to be consistent. Yeah,
it needs to do it week in and week out. That is for sure. I'm a big Maddison fan.
Same.
It's no secret. So, like most places, confidence is high, and if his fitness levels are right as well, I think he could have a brilliant finish to the season. Got some support here, by the way, about strikers going in to coach other strikers. Brighton used Bobby Zamora to work with their strikers. The difference between a progressive club and one, well, I'm not going to use that phrase, one that's not quite so progressive, shall we say. 7:22, Katie's back. Hi again, Katie.
Hello. We're going to talk about these comments that John Obi Mikel, the former Chelsea midfielder, has said, because he's criticised Chelsea for their recent run of form. He's also singled out players, and Enzo Maresca in particular too. This was after Chelsea lost 3-0 to Brighton. It means that they've just won 2 of the last 9 Premier League games. So despite this, Maresca believes that his side are ahead of schedule in terms of progress, having been told to deliver Champions League football in 2 years when he took the job in the summer. Now, speaking on the Obi-Wan podcast, Obi Mikel was far from impressed with Maresca's comments. He goes on to say, "Who has told them that? Are you kidding me? This is Chelsea Football Club. You can't be ahead of schedule. No disrespect to Leicester, where he's coming from. We are a Champions League football club." For him to come out and say we're ahead of schedule, no, you're not. We should be there. For the manager to say we're not contenders to win the Premier League, that has got into the players' heads since, and the whole thing since then has been a disaster. We have no clue what we're doing. So, Troy, what do you make of John Obi Mikel's comments?
I make him right to a large degree. When you talk about Chelsea, they've been known since Abramovich taken over as a team that wins and serially wins, a team that competes, is always up there, real leaders. Again, playing against a few of those teams, you knew you were up for a fight no matter what. They could beat you up with the ball and without the ball. I just think when a manager says it, I was very critical of when Pep was saying it earlier this year, when it's like, excuse me, when they were saying like, we can't win the league from this point of view. It's been a hard season. When you start saying that as a manager, your players go, oh, there's the excuse. That's your way out. Because that's what we do as players. It's never our fault. If I miss a shot, it's not my fault. It's because the cross wasn't good enough or this person did that. So I just think with Chelsea, they've spent £1 billion. Like, what are we talking about? This is not a rebuild. You've still got Nottingham Forest there ahead of you. You've got Bournemouth there ahead of you. You can't talk with, 14 games left? 15 games left? Oh, do you know what? We're ahead of schedule. No, the schedule changes and the expectations change. I think he's doing himself a disservice. I really do.
Yeah, I completely agree. And as you say, he said it from the start, he's trying to play down expectations from the start, but people see through that sometimes. And you're exactly right. How can they be on schedule when Nottingham Forest sit above them, when Bournemouth sit above them at the moment? They should be challenging for a Champions League place. They are, but you do wonder whether they're going to make it or not. And with all the money spent, and yet right now you find them without anybody who can score a goal, really. With a goalkeeper who, with all due respect, is not necessarily up to Premier League standards, without a dominant centre-half as well. But still, they've got lots of wingers.
Yeah, they're a £1 billion team that's still Cole Palmer or nothing. Give it to Cole Palmer. If he's good, then we're good. If he's not, then unfortunately.
I think he raised expectations at the start of the season, though, not with what he said, but with the performances, because they were up there. There was a stage where they could have gone top of the table.
Yes.
I don't think any Chelsea fan really expected that, so maybe he's done it the wrong way around. If he started
terribly
poorly and then improved, we'd be saying, what a great job Enzo Maresca's doing. But as it is, I mean, they were hopeless at Brighton, weren't they? Last week,
I was at the game the week before. We were both there, actually.
Yeah.
How bad were they?
They were bad. And actually, I spoke to Enzo Maresca afterwards, and he basically then referred to the league form, and he was like, no, now we just focus on the league. I was like, you've just been knocked out of the FA Cup.
Yeah, but they were walking as well. That's the thing for me. I just think when a manager's so blind to it, like making excuses, the players just eat that up and go, yeah, keep that in the back pocket. So when he starts shouting, we go, well, you said we didn't have to finish in the top 4.
Does that really get into the players' heads then? Once the manager says, for example, Maresca's saying, Chelsea aren't contenders to win the Premier League, are the players then thinking, oh, okay.
Just lowers the expectation for the whole building. But then you'll contradict yourself and say each day you got to give it your best and push for that 1% marginal gains. But by the way, we've got 2 years to make Champions League. Players don't think like that. We need to know what are we doing, win this game and keep going for that target. It's still available for the top 4. We go for that. So I just think it's a new way of doing it with coaches. They try and downplay it so there's no expectation and pressure on them. When actually now we could all see through it, as you say. We call nonsense on it.
And I'll bet, when he's saying we're not good enough to win the league, we're not good enough necessarily for top 4, I bet you one person who won't, Cole Palmer won't agree with that.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a problem brewing with that, Jeff. I really do. If they don't get Champions League, how are you going to keep him happy?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting, difficult times as far as Chelsea are concerned. By the way, just on the Gabby Agbonlahor, Roy Keane, James Maddison debate. Good morning, Jeff. My name is Brian from Bristol. First time texting, so hopefully I'll get this read out. You will indeed, Brian from Bristol. Gabby Agbonlahor's not even in the top 50 for strikers. Roy Keane is a serial winner. What has Gabby or James Maddison won times have changed? I take your point, Brian. You don't have to win anything necessarily, though, to be a good player. We've just been talking about Cole Palmer, haven't we, as an example.
Also, Brian, who's at home in Bristol, can't even talk to Gabby. So, if you can make a comment on Gabby, Gabby can make a comment on Roy Keane.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think Brian's entitled to have his say.
Of course,
on Gabby.
And so is Gabby.
We'll get it. I'm sure at some stage we'll get a response from Gabby. Not in the top 50 for strikers. He's Aston Villa's record goal scorer, for goodness sake. Record Premier League goal scorer,
that's not
anyway.
much. That's not much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Katie.
Thank you.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.